You see that post where of the measuring spoon, measuring cups that I made? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah, that was like a year or so ago. I love that set. Matching set, measuring cups, measuring spoons, and salt and pepper grinders.
Yeah. Well, they came out really nice.
Yeah, those salt and pepper grinders were a pain in the butt to make. Not like
now
those
I
at
know
all.
Now I know why y'all blessed without my photograph for a minute.
There he is.
There's that friendly face.
There he is. Looks like he's dressed for the wild north.
Well,
Hey,
Look at that glare off his
Into the
forehead.
cage.
it's never up to me of the temperature of the space that I occupy with some people.
Check, check.
Hey, check.
Okay.
Hey, everyone can
Hey.
hear me?
All right.
So far, hi, Kade.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good.
That's good.
Check, cash.
Yeah, cash, Johnny Cash, check. A buddy of mine's having a kid, and he said if he has a boy, he's going to call it Johnny. So Johnny and Cash will play.
Hey, Billy, you don't look too bad for wear.
I'm tired.
Good to see you back.
We got a backup generator. That's the only thing that's kept us here. It's been a mess.
Well, all I got to say is I saw your yard after that party. You should talk to those people.
Ooh, it was bad. It was bad. We jumped out and got a lot of cleaning up done while the first 2 days of the nice breeze blowing, and got all the small stuff cleaned up.
Did you lose that gazebo too?
No, ma'am. I just lost a few shingles. It was that the gazebo held in there. I was hoping to get a new one.
Oh.
I was hoping to see that gazebo just gone, but no. It's about 20 years old. It's done really well. Garbage ran today, that was very nice. Some people are getting power, but we're hanging on. We run our generator about 8 hours a day, and so far natural gas is holding up. There's been some people that natural gas has been a problem.
You have a whole house generator?
Yeah, we have a whole house generator, and but a lot of people don't realize it only has like a 2,000 hour lifespan on it. So if you run it nonstop 24 hours a day, you can actually wear it out, have nothing left when the storm is over. And insurance doesn't cover that. They'll buy you a new generator, $800, and reimburse you. But if you already have one, they won't even pay the oil and gas to go in it. It's kind of crazy, but that's life.
Yeah, but if you live in New Orleans, Bill, it'll give you a free cell phone if you go get in line.
Yeah. You can get a free generator now and a free chainsaw. But you got to get it pre-approved with FEMA before you buy it.
Yeah. Well, allow FEMA to run the show.
Yeah. Haven't seen them. Haven't seen any FEMA tent or any setup in Houma yet. So usually a week late getting to the show. But our National Guard is here, and they're doing an awesome job. They're doing great.
Yeah, they always do. They come in without an agenda and they help us out.
Yeah, I went and picked up some water the second day. I had plenty of water, but people kept showing up to my house. So I had more people than I had water. I had plenty of water for my family, but it's like we had 9 people staying. I don't know, something about that air conditioner just like brings everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, look, we traveled in the middle of right at the beginning of the aftermath to get away from the house, and you can't get me back right now. That's just how it is.
Yeah, don't go back until you have to, because there's I don't know about you guys, but there's nothing in Houma. We got two auto parts stores open, and they don't even have oil. They sold out of oil for generators. I'm lucky. I had 2 quarts of oil at the house, but I wanted to make sure my generator uses about 4 ounces of oil a day. It doesn't burn it, but it uses it. That's just a characteristic of the tolerances in the motor. And so you have to have oil. You have to put oil in it. You can't just let it run.
Yeah. but you do pay for what you get. And if you got the propane, I mean, the natural gas unit, and you exercise it like it's supposed to be and all.
Oh yeah, it was. It's our first time using it for any amount of time, so it works really well.
So, okay.
Amazing how quiet. It's very quiet too.
Yeah. Speaking of quiet, let's not be quiet. What is turning this week? Come on, folks. We've all been out there sweating and making shavings. What's the deal?
I'm turning.
I turned 110. I made
Oh,
one bet today.
We're never safe with Billy. That's all there is.
That's all I got.
I haven't seen Ronnie this evening. I expected him to get online, being that he was in Austin.
Yeah, I just I texted him a little while ago and told him I'll be there if you be there. But
They
I
got some
haven't.
good food out there, man.
That's the only place I've eaten rattlesnake.
Wow.
It was a delicacy at the restaurant I went to. It was really good. But look,
Tastes
at me.
like chicken.
I've turned down.
Hey, Eddie, tastes like chicken.
Sure. No, chicken tastes like rattlesnake. That's the way I saw it. Everybody says it
Alligators
tastes like
the
chicken.
same way.
Yeah, alligator. tastes like
Alligator
chicken.
tail. Yeah.
Is that
Or
taste
that-
like chicken?
Depends on
Wow.
how they season it. If you get a good coon ass to season it right, it can taste like just about anything, and it's really good. There's an alligator festival about 30 miles from my house each fall, and they can make it 20 ways, and it tastes like 20 different meals.
Wow.
Oh wow.
It's really good. But then they have to do the fried thing on the stick with the batter and all that to keep the tourists happy. But, it's nice.
It's just the tail, though. Most people don't eat anything but the tail.
No, and because the hide or the skin is worth so much more, they have to be dressed out to a certain. There's a pattern of how you have to clean and dress them, and every year the pattern changes. So, and it doesn't come out until the day the season starts. So if you go out and poach a couple alligators and you clean them, if you cut them wrong and you can't use the skin, you can't sell it off.
Wow.
Oh wow. That's a
And
good
there
way
are
to do
there
it.
are farm harvested alligators, and they're a little bit of an exception to rule. Farm harvested alligators. Just that should not be an item.
I
All right,
wonder if I
looking for turnings here. Uh-oh, who's that? Rusty? Oh, you awake?
yeah, I'm awake. I was just sitting here thinking I want to find a good source for some good old frog legs. I haven't had frog legs in years.
Go to Kaohsiung, China. You'll eat all kinds of things you never thought you'd eat.
Now, that's a
I like
name I
South
haven't heard for
Mississippi.
many years. What were you doing in Kaohsiung, China?
I was there for 6 weeks in a language school doing working with the professors. My daughter wanted a chicken sushi dish, so this is what I made.
Oh, very cool.
That's cool.
Cool. Very cool.
I don't know what you do with chicken sushi.
Chicken
I think
sushi?
eel would be better.
I used to go to Kaohsiung on a regular basis for manufacturing.
Yeah, it's a big manufacturing center. They have a wonderful wharf area where you can pick your seafood out live, and then they take it in the back and cook it for you.
Yep.
You can't get any fresher.
You gotta love that. Yeah, I've experienced that a couple of times in my life, and it just doesn't get any better than that when it's right there. You know.
Oh, it's wonderful. Yeah, we went one
Who else
time
is
and there was
turning?
an eel tank, and the eels were running back and forth between the tanks. Actually, they would go back and forth between one tank and the other tank. So, well, I want that eel. So, well, wait till it comes up. Got it.
Whoa.
Well, it's the only place I tried snake. We picked out everything we wanted out of the tanks, and at the end, there was a cage full of snakes. So I said, okay, we'll try one of those too.
Well, I had a student over there at Tainan University, and she took me out to dinner one night, and she said, "You want some wine?" I said, "Sure." She said, "Well, we'll get some snake wine." And sure enough, a bottle of wine came out with a snake in it.
Oh,
No, I think I'd pass.
It was
That doesn't sound good.
it was pretty nasty.
That's cool.
Thanks, but no thanks.
I'd pass on that one.
Yeah, I think you'd be on the outside edge with that one.
Me and my son took a rattlesnake ourselves once, and I will tell you, we were not good at it. It was pretty horrible. But so he'd gotten his first hunting license, and I put him in for deer and I put him in for javelina. He did get drawn for javelina. We walked all over the desert for 3 days, couldn't find one. Driving home, there was a dead one on the side of the road. I said, "Do you want to stop and take your picture?" No. So then we go camping the next weekend. Can't find anything. We're driving out, and there's a snake stretched across the dirt road. And my boy had fallen asleep, and I woke him up. I said, "Brenner, get up. There's a snake in the road." So I jump out of the truck, and I said, "Let me check it out first." And I did. It was what's called an Arizona black rattlesnake. You can Google it. They're pretty common in more northern Arizona.
I think we lost you.
And he said, "All right." So he took out his pellet gun, you know, and if you know anything about shooting rattlesnakes, you can't miss. They're going to strike the bullet every time. We threw this dang snake in the back of the truck. We probably had a good hour before we even putting all the camping equipment in this thing, and it's still trying to slither with no head, whatever. So we throw it in the freezer, and my wife comes out, "What are you guys doing?" and whatever. And I tell her, she's like, "Don't you put that in the freezer now." So we left it in the freezer in the garage. We waited till she wasn't home. I went online, figured out how to cook this stupid thing with deep frying it in the oil. And what I learned is that if you get the oil really, really hot and you use your wife's plastic ladle, you will melt the ladle and have to run to Walmart buy a new one before she gets home. We tried that stupid rattlesnake with everything: mayonnaise, ketchup, honey. We breaded it. It was disgusting, but we ate enough to where we felt like we proved our point. You're gonna kill it, you gotta eat it. But I blame more the chef. So if you go to a restaurant and order rattlesnake, probably won't be bad. If I cook it for you, it's not gonna be so good.
I told my grandsons that if they ever killed anything, they had to eat it. And lo and behold, they drowned a lizard. And I took that lizard and I was like, "Oh my God, what have I said?" I took it in, I fried it, cut it in half, and made them eat that lizard. And I thought, "Oh, don't die, don't die." They've never forgotten it.
Oh, that's so good though. What a life lesson. What a life lesson.
And that's the last time they killed anything, huh?
You better believe it. And my oldest is 19 right now, and he still says, "Oh, I'm telling my kids that too."
Yep, my dad beat that in my head when I started hunting.
Paula,
Yeah.
do you have your video turned off? We don't see your video tonight.
That's because I'm in my pajamas, laying in my bed drinking wine.
Okay, we're all right. We're all right.
Yeah.
Nice.
They don't need to watch you drinking wine.
You know, I'm still trying to get over watching Doug wearing a bikini. That's, you know, it's one of those, you can't unthink it.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while there, Captain.
You know, Halloween is coming up again, and I'm thinking a Kim Tippin costume might be in order. I don't know. Maybe I'll be Brenda this year. You know, we can change it up a little bit.
No. No. We don't need to see that.
Doug had some pictures on Facebook. He grew hair this week. Is that Mrs. Doug?
Who grew hair?
I missed that. Was that to me or one of the other Doug?
Doug. Yeah, there was He had some pictures up on Facebook. I think it was your missus on the lathe. What are you saying, Doug, you grew hair?
You sure that wasn't Dane?
Yeah, I think that might have been Dane. That
Might
was
have been
me.
Dan. I thought it was you, Doug. I'm
Yeah, I think
sorry.
she was painting some tops.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
Dan.
that was Dane. That was
Yeah.
Dane, yep.
I'm
That
sorry.
was,
Yep,
that
that
was
was Dane.
Yeah.
and his
Sorry.
daughter.
It was quite a change from what we normally see on Dane's camera. I gotta
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah,
Right.
right?
He,
Hey,
and he's,
Dane.
there he is. I knew he'd be with us. So, Kay, did you get tennis shoes for that boy?
Pardon?
Kay, did you get tennis shoes for your boy?
No, not yet. No, he's got a couple slippers and things yet, but we haven't got him any fancy shoes yet.
Yeah, because you got him a jumpsuit. I mean, or a workout, whatever they call those things. Cute as
Yeah,
a
the
buck.
workout onesie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had him in mismatched socks because Lindy's mom just despises mismatched socks. So we went to visit her the other day and made sure he had two opposite color socks on.
It can't be strange. When I have to wear socks, I normally look like that.
You know, tell them when they notice that you got mismatched socks, Kane. Tell them, yeah, I got another pair just like them at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
My
gonna
wife's
say,
the
you're
same.
taking it back to the 80s. That's some punk rock right there.
I think that's great. Kids these days are doing that. I mean, all over the
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, my daughter's done that since she was a little kid.
Yeah, my
I
wife
still
has
do. What's
too.
the difference? You got two socks on.
Right?
Yeah. As long as your feet are warm.
The only
Who cares
people that
what
know
color
these
they
socks
are?
are foot fetishes.
My wife always gets mad about the holy socks.
Oh, same here. Those are going in the garbage. They're holy.
Like, no, they still got
those are
life
for
left.
church.
They're the
Those are
most
your
comfortable
For
pair.
Sunday.
Yeah, they're
Most
worn in
com-
good.
They're holy.
They're
Mine
worked
always
in, the
get
most
dark.
comfortable pair in the drawer.
Socks. The only thing wrong with socks, you can't wear socks with those Crocs. And for years, I lived in those Crocs.
Oh, I always wear socks with Crocs.
Or socks and sandals.
And that's what I'm thinking. Socks with
Your
sandals.
feet sweat too much in the Crocs without socks on.
Yeah. They get all damp.
So what do we got lined up for demonstrations tonight, gang?
The only bad thing is when you're turning in Crocs with socks on, you go inside, you pull your Crocs off, and you're full of sawdust.
Well, you're
And
gonna
sometimes
get
you can't
barbed.
get the splinters out of the socks.
Yeah, that's, and you can be barbed the whole time you walk.
Yeah.
Well, you can shake the sawdust out or the shavings out, pardon me, not sawdust, and do pretty well.
Not
Right.
with socks on though. Kay is supposed to be doing a bottle stopper, and Dean was going to do something, but he said his neck was bothering him, so he won't be able to demo tonight. So
Yeah, it got a little bit better, Trey, so I can still do a demo.
okay.
Pain
We got a
pills are
little-
wonderful.
Crown, it's a little crown.
All right, so we getting in some folks tonight, and it's looking good. Want to hear from what y'all turning and what's going on in your shops. I'm sorry, I gotta apologize. I missed last week. I was a little busy running for my life, but we're all learning a little something about the world right now. We living through the pandemic. We all do that, and now we're experiencing one more step on being deprived or suffering through things. But hey, we're strong. Well, what turn is? Nothing gets by us. Okay, I've been watching Facebook this week. And I just got a hotspot or a jetpack, so I can now get back on the internet like this. And I've been peeking through Facebook, and I've seen some gorgeous work by you turners, really. And it's been on our Facebook channel. And if you're just joining worldwidewoodturners.org and you don't know about it, we have a Facebook page on, of all places, Facebook. And that's where our members can post items, and we don't have any restrictions on that. So that's where you learn more about pay-per-view. That's not, it's got a different abbreviation, but the demonstrations that turners want to host that are pay-per-views. And if you want to put that note on there, that puts it out in front of people, and that's what that's what we're geared for, is to put it out in front of wood turners. Let them make up their mind where they can go and what they can do. And Record has got a great one. Cade's got one coming up this week, don't you, Cade?
Yep, I have one on Saturday.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
tell you, no smoke. It's a good demo. He's soup to nuts. It's not look what I can do, look what you can do. I like that theory. I really do. And I was also glancing through to see what we're getting in far as tips and hints. Bob Grinstead put one up on, I don't remember how I got this from Bob. Maybe it was by email. He did a basket illusion on a piece, and 96 verticals and 195,000 horizontals or whatever. And Bob's given some tips and hints on how to do it. Showed you the jig and what he did with his iron, his torch, his laser engraver. No, his hot knife. Pardon me. To put the lines in, which was really cool, because when I did mine, I didn't get it that exact. But we're looking for those tips and hints also, and we'll put those in our newsletter, and it goes on our website, and it depends on you to submit it. All right, what turns? I'm putting a finger on you. You have to send us the photographs. You have to give us the tips and hints. We can't and won't pay for anything. This is a sharing operation, totally sharing operation. If you got something to share with wood turners, what's the place to go? We stay, got to say it again, we stay non-commercial. And 2 years ago, almost to this day, I got together with about 6 or 8 of my friends, and a lot of them up on that screen right there. And we said, let's create a wood turning club that's open for everybody and anything, as long as it's just wood turning. And there are no commercial link-ins to where I'm going to show you something and you must use Bob's tool or whatever. We don't do that. The idea here is we want to show you what you can do, and there's no tight links. I mean, I can't say you can't turn without using Bob's SKU. My favorite SKU is really what people would think is a piece of junk. It's low quality, high speed steel, and I got to hone it all the time with my diamond stone, but it's my favorite tool. It's just the way I want it. And that's what in your shop, the size you want them, and stuff like that. Those are all available to us, and we want you to share them with us, and that's important that we get that. The Facebook page, what I was talking about, we have a Facebook page, we have a website. On our website, our master website designer is David Rhodes, and he puts just about everything you can imagine and then a little bit more on our website, and he does it on a regular basis. It's not like on the 9th of the month he uploads it, and I know some people that like that. David gets it, loads it, puts it there, and I'm always amazed. First time I could go there and, pardon me, in about a week was today. And I looked through and said, where the hell, pardon me, where did Dave get this stuff? And it came from you. It really did. So if you got something to share there, contact Dave through our website, worldwidewoodturners.org. And there's a place for you to do some input, get a hold of him. If he needs more information, he'll get back to you. And I got to mention this on Facebook, emails, the website, whatever, when you contact us, give us a real name. I get so many things from Butch, Ken, and Arnold, and that's not their name because it's not how you spell those names. So put your real name on it. We want to give you credit for what you do. You know how it is in kindergarten. Sign your name on the page. So that's looking for turners. But we have. Come on, rock and roll.
Can I make one comment about the website? Real
No.
quick one. I wanted to thank Kade. Last week he got around to putting a list of all his videos, not videos, his meetings he's going to demo at between now and I think December, maybe January. And I put them up on the website now so you can find those there. If you give me the things you have ahead of time, I'll get them up. I have to admit, I'm usually a week behind. So I think Scott Hampton had something last Saturday. It didn't get up there because I only found out about it Wednesday and I'm too slow. But if you get things to me at least 2 weeks in advance and you've got a demo you're doing or something like that, I'd love to put them into the events list. Just get them to me a couple of weeks early, or, you know, they won't quite make it.
Oh, that's simple. That's
Thanks,
simple.
Dave.
You getting free exercise, mention all your stuff. Yes, I'm gung ho for that. And everybody help me out here. I don't know of another site right now that's putting that kind of effort forward, honestly. And that's why 2 years ago we got together and said, do this. Look where we've come in 2 years. I'm extremely proud. I felt so bad last week. I tried 10 different ways to get on the internet to get with you. And what I didn't think of was drive down to Walmart and sit in the parking lot. They had free Wi-Fi. But this is for sharing information. And I love it. I mean, I got my note, making notes all the time. And I got to look and see what Kade's got coming up soon. I got told about a Lyle Jamison coming up, Cindy Drozda coming up, a couple of club events that the club seem to be jumping on board this. It's taken a while because this is quite an effort for some folks to get on this. And now I'm hearing about clubs who want to do a semi-monthly Zoom type meeting. And it's going to be held in the middle of the week. And it's doing the same thing, chatting, talking, showing pictures and stuff like that. It works. And that's why we're here. So look, if you turn something, we want to see a picture of it. We'll get around and just do it. The demos are important. And today, Dane, do you remember who signed up or who said to come in for a demo on the 22nd? Dane, you got that?
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear it.
Right, you're breaking up, Eddie.
Oh boy, it shouldn't happen. All
It's
right.
that Mississippi accent, that kiln Mississippi accent he's got.
Hey, Dane, I think Eddie was trying to ask about that email we got. Somebody saying they wanted to do a demo. He was asking if you remember whose name that was.
Yes, so we have Kurt Cap set up to do a demo on the 22nd, doing Parfix 3408.
On spindle work, wasn't it? He wanted to do it on spindle work.
He said on a finished turned item. He didn't specify what type of item.
Okay.
I've got an email. Walt Wager volunteered last week to put on a demo. I've got an email into him on what are good dates for him, and letting him know that he could also break up his project over a course of a couple meetings if needed. And Scott Hampton is going to do a demo for us in October. And so we're just waiting to hammer down a date on that as well. So good stuff
And
coming.
Turners, if you're not following along, yeah, this is your word turning club, and that's where we want you to be involved and perform these demonstrations for it. And it's simple. You can shoot them with your cell phone.
Hey, Dave, this is Walt Wager. I haven't gotten any email from you
You haven't gotten any email about what?
about doing a demo. I offered to do one, and Dave
Oh,
wrote, Dave
you
Chandler
need to
just,
check with Dane, I guess. I'm sorry.
oh, Dane.
I'm
Okay,
not sure I
Dane.
got the email.
No, it was Dane. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, it's okay. So I sent it to waltwager@gmail.com.
Yeah, yeah. Would it be under your name?
Yes.
Okay, let me look. It's searching.
Yeah, if you search DANE, you'll find it.
Okay, go back and try that.
I think it was Monday.
Oh, I was out of town Monday, so.
I'm sorry, Walt. I didn't realize what you were. I noticed in the meeting last week you sent me your email address, and I was thinking, I wonder why I got that. Wasn't quite sure.
I don't see one from Dane. Can you send it again, Dane?
Yes.
All right. I was out of town. Maybe it
Hey,
got
if
lost.
you can throw your email in chat for Dane, maybe he spelled your name wrong.
Yeah, maybe. I'll do that.
Walt, your shop looks so organized. How do you find anything?
That's not my shop.
So Walt,
Everybody's jealous of that shop, I think.
hold on. So is it Walter or Walt.wager at
There you
Gmail?
go. waltwager@gmail.com.
Okay, I did Walter,
Okay, that won't work.
right?
Oh, that's the thing about email, one dot or one letter, and it's all wrong.
Okay, so we got it
Yeah,
now.
but here's the thing.
We'll
It
get it
doesn't
worked
sound
out.
like you got a rejected email, so somebody got it.
Probably.
I was gonna say to Walter, I think that shop behind him there needs a few more clamps.
All right, I just resent it, Walt.
You can never have too many clamps.
I know.
What they claim.
Beat me to it.
Yeah, but there's too much flat work going on there and not enough turning.
There you go.
Hey, big bowl blanks are getting expensive.
Yeah, how many clamps does it take to hold a bowl together?
As many as you got.
Only one, but it has to want to.
How many segments?
I was gonna say that depends on how many times it's flown off my lathe and I'm gluing it back together.
It's like, how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but it has to want to change. Drum roll.
Talk about clamps and holding bowls together. I have found, I've recently gotten into segmenting, and I found that zip ties make perfect clamps. They, if you got the right angle on what you're cutting, the zip tie holds it all together. And you can readjust them if you got the ones that have a little pin in there, little catch.
Some of them are elastic too. You can get the zip ties that are elastic that stretch, and they're
I
removable.
haven't seen any of them.
They got those at, I got mine at Lowe's, but I use them a lot. They're rubber.
I had some that were about a 3/8 inch wide, and there was a gun that you ran through to tighten them up. And as you squeezed it, like those bar clamps, the black ones that's in the Home Depots and all, but it worked on the same principle with the sliding catch. And boy, you could put some serious pressure on that thing.
Yeah, I find that they work real well.
But I also found that if you need to put if you're doing segment of work, you need to put that much pressure to pull it together. It ain't long for this world, because wood will flex and glue won't. So, hey, I have a request, and I have to turn my video off. I'll put it back on now, but if it gets a choppy, I got to turn my video off because of the bandwidth here.
You sound a lot better now.
Yeah, much better.
Well, I went up a couple of bars. I'm on a Verizon system. We personally have T-Mobile, and we would get maybe one bar here at the camp. We had to drive about 20 miles down the road to get a signal with the darn. But I digress. I had a note from one of our members, and y'all know I don't do names. And he said he wants to do a natural edge bowl, and he would like us to do a demo on how to create a natural edge piece from soup to nuts. If it takes a couple of weeks to do a segmented piece as to this is how I'm going to rough it in, and this is how I'm going to get it to a round state, put a tenon on, put a mortise in, put it on a screw chuck or whatever. They're looking for a demo. So Turners, I'm throwing it out there. We would like to have a demo on how to do a natural edge piece. And if you want to team up with somebody, you do part, they do part, or whatever, that's what we do here. I'd like to see one done like that for our membership. And I have to agree, if we sat down, if 6 of us sat on a table and talked about it, we'd come up with 12 ways to do it. And your way would be much better than mine, and one of mine would be totally stupid. So, that's where I'm looking for some feedback on it, because I hear from guys, you need to have a special chuck or special jaws, or this has to be such and such, and that has to be such and such. The best guy I saw do one started with a hole drilled in the center of the piece on the rough side, and he had a pipe that he notched like a spur, and he drove the pipe in there. The pipe was then put on a faceplate that he tightened down because it was a machinist type lathe, and he did beautiful work on it because that's what he had. That's what he had to make, and that's why we're here. We're here every week to talk about that. What do you have? What can you make? What can you go to? Resource in bottle stoppers. Somebody sent me a photograph of their bottle stopper mandrel. Is a 3/8 inch rod that they have sharpened the end on like a plus, and he drives it into the piece, puts that in his pinch jaws, and turns the bottle stopper with that. But the art I saw, he does pretty good at it. And he said it was cheaper than the $35 mandrel that he saw at one of the trade shows. So I guess so. That's what, that 12 cents. But we're looking for those tips, tricks, and all. But remember, we're not the Suicide Squad. If it's dangerous, we don't want you to show it to us. Just like we don't want any hero moves. That's a safe way to go about it.
So you don't want Johnny Green. You don't want Johnny Green demoing his hollowing system, do you?
Oh, no. Mr. Green is a great man. He does some fantastic art. I do not want any of you folks to see this rig without understanding that about 5 years of planning and workmanship, maybe more, went into doing this. And his boring bar is about 1.25 inches in diameter, and that's a pair of them. That he ain't fooling. But he does some gorgeous. You may have seen it at Swatter, some of the other places. It's some fantastic wild art. I remember standing in the spot and hearing some guys say, I don't know what that is, but it ain't turning. And Johnny was nearby. And I said, whoa. You're going to start a fight here. And that old man can take you because he's really worked on it.
He's turning 6 foot high wing bowls.
Wow.
Yes.
With wings on it, cutting out of the crotch of a tree.
Not just 1 or 2 wings. We're talking 4 or 5 wings. And yeah, some of his pieces a couple of years ago when he was going to SWAT, they wouldn't fit into the back of an Explorer, or I'm sorry, the bigger Ford or Explorer. I mean,
Expedition.
yeah, or a Suburban. It wouldn't fit in the back of them. There wasn't enough room. And that's the kind of he's got a lathe that was not made to be a lathe, and it's talk about a man and his art. Johnny Green and his art is something else. It's really a pleasure to be in his shop and watch him work. He makes it look effortless, but he's thought his way through it. Remember this count to 10 before you get started? I got to count about 1,003 before I start that up. I found the cutter for him one day at a saw shop and bought one and sent it to him. And it was like, it radically changed what he was doing because it was not made for wood turning whatsoever. And he adapted it, used it, and I have to get some photographs of his work. Y'all would really like that. And hey, I've got a gallery. If I'm up to do this, I've got a gallery. I'm going to do this right now. Share sound. Put this up. This is something I've been playing with, and let's see if it happens. Yep. Now you can talk in the background of this. This is a program I'm putting together that will show you what, and hopefully it's not up, huh? It's not up. Is it up?
It's
Yeah, I'm looking at Dane's base.
Okay,
It
all right.
runs 25 times.
Yeah. Now, some of this work, now this may not be total for the month because I'm still working with a partial internet system, but I'm getting in pieces, and this is where your work can go too. Oh, look at that from Billy. Nice clock. And we get pieces in from every week. I get this, and I love when you do combination pieces. Years. But some of these folks, now you might see them repeated in here because they'll send me more than one piece, and I will use it if we can fit it in the program. So send them on to us. There we go. That looks like Joe Klein in Metairie, Louisiana. He's been at it again.
Your sound's breaking up.
Robert's out of Hattiesburg. Say again? Am I still there? I'm going.
You're still, you're there now.
Yeah, you're doing
It,
fine.
it comes and goes sometimes, but that's,
But we're getting in some really nice work. I mean, there's one from Dane. He put this together like that. Bottle stoppers, great art pieces. This one blows my mind. Timothy's work. It's really beautiful. Yeah. Doug Miller, I got the other side someplace, Doug. I hadn't put it up there.
Kate,
Yeah, Martin from UK. Now, if you want to be in on this, all you have to do is send me your work and you send it to our email address and we will be glad to use it. And I really like showing off your work like that because there's so many people that don't understand what we do and how we do it. I haven't been able to work on a promo this week because of the downtime. But I throw the promos out there by Facebook, YouTube, and whatever else I can to let folks know that we're still spinning wood. Speaking of that, let's spin some wood. What's happening? Who's showing what? Who's on the gallery? You're up there. Dane's our gallery master. He's watching for you. You have something, put it in the chat. Dane will call it up, introduce you, and boom, it's your show. Oh no, Doug Miller's starting off the bat.
All right. Follow up from last week. Showed you the little bell. Here is the completed piece. It's what we're calling that is a bell tower. The whole thing was to make a tower, and so that's what it did. Whole series of bells, and just made a tower. Got Osage orange, walnut, and I have no clue what wood this one is. It's a nice brown wood, turned beautifully, but I have no clue what it is. So I call it fogwood.
Oh,
And
it's all
then-
connected. I thought you had them stacked up. That's a connected piece.
It's all connected, yes.
Looks
Yeah,
like
they're
a bell
glued-
tower to me.
Exactly.
Don't
Exactly.
they-
Good
please
job,
don't.
Doug.
That's
And
cool.
then
How
there
did
was
you
a-
connect them?
I'm sorry.
How did you connect them?
Um,
You got a wire through them?
no, wood glue.
Oh, they're glued together.
Yeah, just wood glue. I was going to use CA, but I was afraid of that being too brittle,
Okay.
and so I used wood glue on it. And it worked beautifully. Then there was another challenge. The folks over in the UK, not really a challenge, but just a suggestion to get people out in their shops to make candle tea light holders. And so this is some cedar fence post that was taken off of a farm here in Kentucky, and I just turned it. The wood is super light. There's no weight to it. The best I can figure, it's Western white cedar. Little electric tea lights. Let me turn one on for you, and just so you get the idea. There we go. Well, you can't even see it, can you?
No.
Light washes it out.
A little bit.
Okay. Well, whatever. But you get the idea. These are electric. You can put regular ones in there, and they work just fine. Another one, just to get people in the shop, was to do a mushroom challenge. I would never say I'm too good to turn anything. These are simple to do, but they are skill builders. And if you've got a little shop or you're going to do a little festival, mushrooms are one of the easiest things to sell. Nobody can quite figure out why, but people love to buy mushrooms. So that was just a little piece of red cedar from here in Kentucky, simple stuff. And of course, here in just a couple months, we've got Christmas coming, so we got to get started. And so here you go. That's the first two of this year's.
Right on.
Cool.
Again, skill builder, all done with a skew. I am no good at a skew at all. These took about 10 minutes a piece with a skew.
Hey, you learned that from
Very
Kade
nice.
Bolger, didn't you?
He has got me a long way.
Yeah.
Glad to hear. It looked great.
They
They
do.
do.
Real simple.
And you talk about a skill builder, that is not an easy thing to do until you learn how to use that skew.
Right.
Real, and it'd be hard to do with almost any tool, but look how smooth, slick, and clean the lines come out. You did good there, Doug. You did good.
I got catches on both of them and was able to get those spirals out pretty easily, especially the first one. I don't remember which one was first, but whichever one it was, I got multiple catches on it, and but I was able to pull the spirals right out, and I started sanding at 100 just because. I'm going to put very little, if any, finish on these. They will get a face, and that's about it. And I'll sell these for $15 as quick as I can get them in the shop.
Nice.
Gold on that hatband?
I'm sorry?
Didn't hear that.
Do you have gold on the hatband?
I did.
Maybe move your mic a little.
No, on the hat band. He asked about the hat band, how you did the hat band.
Oh, that's burned in with a wire.
Well, it looks
Had the-
gold.
Had the speed up to about 2,000, and they're both of them. That one's just got one line. This one's got three. There we go. They're just burned in with a piece of baling wire, actually, is what I use.
Yep. You can use a guitar string or hanging wire as well.
Yeah.
I used
I
a
can
piece of
maybe show that
masonite,
on
so
my
I get
bottle
a.
stopper.
I used a piece of masonite, so I get a wide band all the way around it instead of single.
Right.
Yeah. And to give away those masonite samples at Home Depot.
Absolutely.
Turned a hacksaw blade backward on the smooth
That'll
side
work.
and held it with the hacksaw.
That'll
Put
work.
it on there.
Oh, that'll work.
Very safe.
Uh,
It felt
I
safe
usually
to
use
me.
Oh
the
man, y'all just
laminate
look at-
samples actually come in different thicknesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
laminate.
You see what y'all doing, spreading all those stories about how you can do things inexpensively without special equipment. And thank you, Doug.
Nice thing
Thank
is
you all.
Walmart or Home Depot and Lowe's have a whole wall full of them. Gotta get a couple
There's
nice
another,
tires there.
there's another way that looks good on bands too. If you use something like, oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank on it. Use an oily type wood.
Ebony?
Like a
Mhm.
like a rosewood or something, and go down to that, and you actually transfer the color of the wood to the band.
Yes.
So you can put a rosewood on there and put a red band around it with a type of rosewood and stuff.
Yes, you can.
Instead of just burning. So that's another option for banding.
I learned that when I was taking a hat class with Mickelson. He had two different grades of hardwood, and one did the center and of the band, and the other piece would do the top and bottom accent pieces. And first time I watched it, I was just shocked at how easy it was and how good an effect it made. Really. Am I
All right.
still-
Well, let's go to Gerald Avery and see what he's got. Hey,
Hey,
Gerald.
Gerald.
Hi.
Hey,
I
how
don't know
you
if,
doing?
I don't know if you can see them from there very well.
Sure
I'll try to get as close as I can.
Wow, that's
Those are nice.
Yes, nice.
That's nice.
Nice work.
Very nice.
Great job.
I've been playing around with my new engraver, so I can do it on either the top or the bottom.
You have the O-Tour revolver?
I got the O-Tour #2. And then the ladies at my church made pin pouches.
That's
Oh,
nice.
wow. That's nice.
Material they get from Joann's. And our down here in Polk County, Florida, our honor flights are going to be starting up again very soon. So I've got to get a bunch of pins made up from our 2 different clubs so that we'll have enough pins for all the members that are going to be going on those honor flights. We don't know if they're going to be virtual yet or if they're actually going to be able to physically go again. But one way or another, they're going to get the pins.
Good. Thank you,
What
Gerald.
is an honor flight?
The honor flights go for veterans. There's very few World War II veterans left. The majority of them are either Vietnam, Korea, or some of the newer conflicts. But they pick them up at the Lakeland Linder Airport over here in Lakeland, Florida. And they start early in the morning, they fly them all up to Washington, D.C., and they take them to the memorials. And then they bring them back that night.
That's awesome.
And it's a
Oh,
long,
that's
hard
great.
day.
You know, we have honor flights in our area too, out of Mississippi.
Yeah, they do it in Tallahassee too.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It really is.
Honoring those who serve. That's what it's supposed to
Absolutely. And then the rest of them will end up with the VAs at the VA hospital or one of the VFW clubs.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me mention,
Thanks.
folks, that if you're not aware of it, Worldwide Woodturners supports Freedom Pens, and we have 2 different outlets or 2 different inlets. Let me say it that way: 2 different inlets to put things into Freedom Pens, and they're both listed on our website. One is for the Army, and the other is handling the Navy. And we're still looking for the Marine Corps and the Air Force and the Coast Guard and all that to jump on board. We need a member to take control of the situation, to receive them and distribute them. And it's important that they go to active duty personnel. I got to take this back some days. You know, if you've served and you deserve it. So that's it. Kade's in there right now, making a little noise. He's standing up some stuff. Who else?
Sorry.
Who else is up?
We
Who
got
else is up the gallery, Dane?
We got Brenda.
Oh,
Show us your fingers first.
yeah, we got to do a bandage check.
Did you
Well,
turn that pencil? You turn that pencil that's in your hair?
no. I was working on the deck today. And I didn't do no turning today, but I was working on the deck. I was putting some poles out there to put a sunshade up. And as I was running the bolts in, lag bolts. I did scuff my finger.
Oh,
A little
no.
blood, okay, but it wasn't turning.
Brenda.
Yep.
Related stuff don't count.
It don't matter.
lag bolt was
what you do,
turning.
I end up getting blood. So I made some, I have more ice cream paddles, which actually I'm going to start calling them ice cream shovels. This one's
I
made
like
of
that.
cedar. Nice and shiny one.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice.
yeah, very nice.
Super, super.
Here's another cedar one.
Those
Nice.
things are huge.
I do like the detail.
Oh yes, I
work.
love the big handled ones.
The scoop is big too.
Great.
It's a lot bigger than normal.
Yes,
I like
and this
the
one.
I like the two-tone with the sapwood and the heartwood. It's really
Yes.
striking. Looks cool.
Oh man, you can't see it. Can you see that?
There it is.
Got a
Yeah.
ghost in there.
You see that little face there?
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
ghost.
Yeah.
It
Now,
screams.
this one's sycamore, I believe.
Somebody said it's a big scoop. What kind of ice cream eater are you? It's not a big scoop for me.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
Little
this
five-pound
one-
scoop.
This one I think was cherry. And this one I tried off center, like Mark Soleil showed us last week. So I finished put a little off-centered tip on it.
That's a nice effect.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You can practice technique. That's it.
I got some chips in here, couldn't get out. But
That's what you use to put the cherry on top of the ice cream. You poke that in there, it makes a hole for the cherry.
oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
There you go.
I'll tell them that when I sell it. Yeah.
That paddle
There you
was
go.
got purpose. You can use that to defend your bowl of ice cream.
Oh yeah, that's what I tell them at the craft shows all the time. They're like, "Oh, look at the size of that handle on there." I'm like, "Yes." I said, and it'll go through any kind of ice cream. I don't care how hard it is. And then you can use it to defend your ice cream too.
Yeah.
Well, no, especially
It
with
definitely would.
With a bigger handle, you can get a bigger scoop too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like back off. Get your own ice cream.
that's right. Protect it.
You can play baseball with it too.
What's that?
Baseball.
You can play baseball with it.
Baseball.
Are you using a 3/8 insert in there?
Just a hole drilled, and then I just glue them. I put them in just glue them solid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Inserts. They're
What
solid.
type of glue? Epoxy?
Nope, I put CA glue.
Oh, okay.
Well, they look wonderful, Brenda.
Mhm.
Thank you. I have sold
Yeah.
lots of them. Matter of fact, most of my family last year got one for Christmas too. Love ice cream
Very
cones.
nice.
Or the ice cream
job,
shovels,
Josh.
rather.
All right, let's go to Jim Selby. You're muted, Jim.
Yes, you know.
All right, I'm ready now. This is a dog paw print pen that a friend of mine made the blank where he printed the dog paws on a piece of paper and then put it inside the acrylic. The kits from Penn State.
Is that the pencil kit?
Pen, ink pen, click pen.
Oh, click pen. All right.
Cool.
Very
That's
nice.
very nice.
Nice job.
Nice job.
Thank you, Jim.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Jason. You're up, buddy.
Jason, that's you. Yes.
Yeah, that's me. Well, you guys, some of you saw these earlier, so. But this was some wood I bought it on sale, a little salt shaker. And then I also have, well, I don't have the bottle stopper yet. It's in the mail. But nice little offset bottle stopper.
Huh,
So
cool.
matching.
What's the wood?
I have no clue. I ended up with a block of it I bought on clearance at what is that? Woodcraft. It just says clearance. So,
Oh. Huh.
Some of
I don't know.
that.
It's nice and hard. So I don't know if that would help you out any.
Not
It's
really.
pretty.
Not really.
it's
Maybe
pretty.
an ironwood.
It's
Love
pretty
that green.
But
Hey,
Beautiful.
can we see?
Ironwood. Of some sort.
do what, Eddie?
Can we see the top of your salt shaker again?
Yeah. Nope.
You drilled that out?
Yep. Just
Very
five
good.
little, they're 16 holes. I
Very-
hope they're big enough.
Very
Oh,
nice
yeah.
uniform. What'd you do for the
So-
plug?
Just a white push-in plug.
Okay.
Yeah, the plugs you buy at Penn State, right?
I got these ones off of Amazon.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Just a little,
Yeah, they work just the same.
just a little push-in plug.
Nice.
So I'm working on a second one to go with out of walnut, the darker wood for the pepper. So that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Jason.
Very
Appreciate
nice.
it.
Yep.
Really nice stuff tonight. Hey, I just got to put this out there really early. In case you don't know it, Ronnie is in the house.
He
Oh.
is.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
Ronnie.
Ronnie's in the house. So just,
Uh-oh. Now we're in trouble.
yep, whatever we were saying earlier, just let it go.
Don't have
There's
to
a
let
lot
him
of
in.
2x4s on the side of the road.
Here I am.
Hi, Rod.
Hey,
Hey,
Ronnie.
Billy, how you doing down there?
Hey,
Hey,
Ronnie.
Ronnie.
How's everybody?
Hi,
Good. How
Ronnie.
you doing?
Hello there, Miss Brenda. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm good.
Billy, how you doing down there? How's the conditions?
Doing well, just cleaning up. Still got no power, but we're running on backup generator. We just barbecuing and sweat. That's all we're doing, man.
Yeah, I hear that, pardon. Good
Yes.
evening to everyone else.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie.
Evening, Ronnie.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Thanks
Where are
for
you
all
located,
the
Ron?
inquiries everybody sent. Means a lot.
Oh yeah, we heard a lot from you folks, our friends, our members. We've a lot of us have been impacted by this, and y'all have given us some support. Been very good to us, and it'll show you something. That's where family and friends come from, right?
Eddie, that don't look like Wally World.
Oh no! I gotta look. I got a jet. My wife tells me it's a jetpack. I got a jetpack, and we went to Verizon.com, and they got a pretty good service that'll come this far to the camp. We have cell phones by T-Mobile that we're maybe 5 miles out of their range. So, but hey, we're here. We're here. You missed it a few minutes ago. The clock rang. It's a bird thing. Drive you crazy. All right, we're back on gallery now.
Hey, I got a suggestion.
Ronnie, great to see you. Bud.
Yeah.
What's that?
Dane, I got a suggestion. I'm looking at the and we've got a new member, Tim, that has something to show. How about we skip?
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, we can skip to Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
You're on hat. You're on being brought up. There you go, Tim Hatch, a new member.
I got
Hey, Jim.
Well,
Hey,
first
welcome.
off, I want to say thank you, Eddie Castellan, for teaching me all the tricks and techniques on video. And also to Dean's Woodworking. I've been watching some of his stuff. So I started turning about 2 years ago, plus or minus. And my very first bowl I ever made, actually, it's a hollow form. My better half likes to stick her chicken feathers in. And then I turned this walnut bowl It's got a
Wow.
little lace in it. And of course, candy, you know, because can't walk out into the shop without feeding the hunger. But lately I've been making these little bottle stoppers like this one. There's some spalted pecan with some turquoise inlace and also a little bit of brass in there. That came out pretty nice. And then the same walnut that came from the bowl, I've got a couple pieces like this. So I've been doing some of the inlace. I don't like the inlace resin a whole lot. The smell really sucks for me, but I'm doing things like this, you know, old scraps of wood and that type of thing, and filling it in with the inlace, and then using CA glue to harden everything up. Of course, let it sit up for a day or two. But yeah, I just want to say hi and thank you all for all your little YouTube videos. Since I'm in Bastrop, Texas, I don't have a club around me without driving 30 some odd miles to stinking Austin, and they can keep that town. It's too weird for me. But I figured I'd pop in real quick and say hi to y'all.
Well, watch what you say, Tim, about Austin. Ronnie's camped out in Austin.
Well, yeah, welcome, Tim.
Nice job, Tim.
Welcome, Tim.
Nice time.
Glad to have you.
Tim, good
Tim.
meeting you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Tim.
Welcome to the
Nice
club.
work.
Welcome, and don't worry about Ronnie. You know, he doesn't have very good judgment, so.
Austin's been pretty good to Ronnie.
You know, I could have stayed home and got this abuse.
You know you love.
Ronnie, you and
Ronnie,
Eddie
I'm
need to
gonna-
move up to North Carolina. We don't have
I
all those
know, I
storms
should've,
you do.
Ronnie, I'm going to say it's good to see you, and it's great to see that a lot of you guys are safe over there. But has it taken all that wind to get you out of that bloody chair?
Yeah, there you go. you might see me dozing a little bit tonight.
Yeah.
I was just going to say something about him being a lazy boy, so
Hey,
you got
Martin,
it
I got a
first.
question for you, Martin.
Go on, Ronnie.
Do y'all ever have anything like a hurricane or something y'all call that's a bad storm like this?
We had one half the size of your hurricane about back in 1982. And we speak about it ever since. In England, we don't get anything like that. Never, ever, ever. And we probably talk about the weather permanently, but we don't get anything like you guys.
If you really want to hear something now, for everybody that's listened, the last bad storm that we could say we really had was Katrina. Believe it or not, 16 years to the day that Ida hit.
Which was worse? Was Ida
Uh-huh.
worse than Katrina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
but for it to hit
Oh,
exactly
Katrina was
16
much
years
worse than
later,
Ida.
What about Isaac in 2012?
Right.
Yeah, but a devastating, you know.
Category 4.
I drove an ice truck to Thibodeau and Homa and stuff after Isaac, and Thibodeau looked like it was tore up pretty bad.
And you know, if you got a minute, we talking about this. The people in the New Orleans area were hit hard. But if you go, what we consider going down the Bayou, if you look at the state of Louisiana, what we consider the boot, and Billy is part of that boot. Billy was hit hard, but going down from Billy all the way down to the mouth of the river, those people were devastated. They're still in there trying to evacuate them, believe it or not. You can't even get down there by car. They got bulldozers and everything else trying to clear the roads to get those people out. So if everybody could say a little prayer for those people down there, and not only that, as this storm passed us and went up and went all the way over to the East Coast, those people really caught it too. So you never think a storm could do this much devastation, but it went all the way up and got everybody's attention. So just remember them when if you can.
I think Katrina
Prayers
got
sent for all
more,
you folks.
I think Katrina got more publicity because the levees broke and it flooded the stadium, you know, all that area, and it just got more
Well-
publicity, but Ida was actually a stronger storm.
Yeah, well, what we consider, Katrina was a man-made disaster. Ida was the most wind. It's not official yet, but I think in the New Orleans area, they saying we had around 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And down at the mouth of the river, they said it got up to about 180. So I don't know if it blew 150 around my house, but I tell you what, it was blowing. So,
Both
and
storms.
just remember last year we had a meeting, and as the meeting was going on, we was having a little hurricane that everybody just kind of blew off. So the difference between that one and this one.
Yeah.
So
Both storms hit different spots, though. That's the main thing is both storms hit different locations.
yeah, right.
That's a significant difference. If Katrina came in where Ida came in, New Orleans would not exist today because of the storm surge it brought with us. New Orleans would have all of New Orleans, including the French Quarter, which is the highest point in New Orleans, would have been under 10 feet of water. So it's two different storms, two different locations. So
you're right.
I live in New Jersey and we had 8 inches of rain in a short period of time. There were cars all over abandoned. We had no wind at all, just rain.
Right. You wonder how a storm like that can generate that much rain.
and
Well, Ronnie,
actually,
we'll all pray for everybody.
actually
that
on the
was
coast,
impacted.
actually on the coast areas, I think we're better suited for heavy rains than what y'all are further up north.
Oh, yeah.
Because our land is so flat, it basically runs off. So I can have 10 or 12 inches of rain, not worry about it. You know, it's a little river flooding and that kind of stuff, but nothing significant. Go further up north where you have hills, everything collects at the bottom of it and runs off and tears everything up. So
Exactly. That's where all the abandoned cars were, at the bottom of the hills.
yeah, well, I probably had 20, 25 inches of rain from Ida, but nothing significant here. So
Yo, storm.
You have a lot of work, a lot of wind in South Jersey.
Say again, David? We had David and we lost him. All right. We're still around. Hey, we got a demonstration lined up in a little bit. If you got some gallery, let's get it in before we start that demo. So what do we have?
Hey, Sue.
Hey there, how are you?
Good, good.
Hi, Sue.
How are you, Brenda?
Hello, Miss Susan.
Feel good.
Ronnie, you know, I was worried about you, but I didn't have your email to find out how you were.
There you go. Just give me a hug.
Okay, you got it.
Man,
I
y'all.
had 4 of these pens to show, but a friend of mine really liked the one I did with the Fancy Pansy. These are Neural pens from PSI. This is green dyed box elder with chrome.
Oh, that's pretty.
That's
It
pretty.
is pretty.
That's pretty. Yeah, very nice.
This one was a burl, but most of the burl was around the outside of the blank, but it still came out pretty. It's what is it?
Redwood burl.
It's walnut.
Oh, nice.
And then
You call it a
you get-
walnut or is it natural?
no, it's a walnut.
Okay.
That's a walnut.
Mm-hmm.
The I also did an aqua bright color. That came out pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very
That
nice.
came out real cool.
But I got into the spirit. Here we go, guys.
That's what we're looking for.
And I was
Very nice.
playing with veneer, and I used black, white, black veneer. And I cut the blank apart and had more tight bond 2 glue on me than I had on the piece, but it came out good. And this was done in Sapili.
Very nice.
Very
That's
nice.
real nice.
Very pretty.
What
That is-
finish you put on it? What
I
finish?
used 3 coats of 8460 and 2 coats of 900. And I hit it with triple E, and then I hit it with Vonnex, and that was it.
Looks good. Got a good sheen to it. Really nice.
Thank you. And I've started to glue up blanks and stuff for the Marines. For Ronnie, there's going to be the top of the pens.
There you go.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's
Cool.
pretty.
And then the
Yeah,
bottom of the pens, the blanks I've got represent the Marine dress blues. So Ronnie, you're going to be getting some pens. The thing is that the pens I've got are trim line, not trim line, are trim line. Would you rather have the slim line rather than the trim line?
Whatever one is thinner, because they have to be able to put it on their sleeves of their shirt.
Okay, okay, that would be the slim line.
Yeah. Thank
Okey
you
doke.
very much in advance.
Take
If you
care.
want to do a,
Thank
if
you,
wanna
Sue. That's
do a-
beautiful.
Nice job, Jitsu.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
no.
And Brenda, I have to get x-rays tomorrow.
Oh, goodness.
You guys, when I do a number, it's not during turning, although I probably could do that, but I fell and broke my tailbone and a couple of toes. So that's why you didn't see me on screen last week. I was a mess.
My wife did that, and the swelling never went down.
Oh, I'll tell you, it is.
That's bad. That's bad. That's
is-
very painful, Sue. I hope it goes well for you.
That's very painful.
Yeah,
Very
Ron.
Susan, not to make you, this might make you feel better. My wife was in the kitchen about I guess a week before the storm, a week and a half ago, or whatever. She was cooking. She opened up the dishwasher. She was cooking, and she turned around to go put something in the dishwasher. She backed up, and she backed up over the open door of the dishwasher and fell over the dishwasher. Everything came out the dishwasher and went flying, and she's screaming and hollering, and I'm wondering what in the world is going on.
Oh my goodness.
She didn't
No
turn
night.
herself, thank goodness, but she damaged the dishwasher.
Well, that means she gets a new dishwasher.
That's
That-
right. That's right.
For me, I don't even get a new floor, so I fell on the tiles. So, oh well.
All right.
Well, let's hope you get better, Susan.
Thank you.
There,
Thanks,
Sue.
guys.
All righty. Anybody
All
up, Dane?
Yes, yeah, we got a couple more. Let's see, we got Dean up, and maybe then after Dean, we can go to Kade.
Good deal.
Kate, is that okay by you?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. All right. Let's see what Dean's. Wow.
Yeah, I'd rather he follow me than me follow him. That's always a hard, tough act to follow. So I did some snowmen ornaments, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever done these or not. I've been doing them for quite a while, but I had said I was going to do a video before I went to SWAT of these. And when I got to SWAT, Nick Cook was doing a production turning demo. So I went into that, and where I always tapered this down just to a point, Nick was putting the little bead on the bottom of it, and I really liked that. And I've always used pyrography to make the little buttons and the nose and everything. And Nick was using puff paint, and I really liked that. So at SWAT, I pretty much changed my snowmen by a couple of ways, by using the puff paint, putting the little bead on it. Some of them I do the little hat rings, some of them I don't. So I do a number of these to sell at the craft shows and stuff when I do in the fall.
That's a great idea. You know, you should teach that to Trace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you
What
just
is
go
puff
review
paint?
why don't you just go review my prior demo on it that I did about a year ago?
Oh, did you?
Yes. I'm pretty sure it was included in my demo of that. I did.
Guys, I'd love to stick around.
So did you do the puff paint too, Trace?
Yes, I do the puff paint.
What is
I-
puff?
I missed that demo, I guess.
It's a fabric paint that you just squeeze out of the tube. They use it for fabrics and readily available at Wally World, any place like that.
Yeah, you can get it in any of the craft stores, Michael, Hobby Lobby, Walmart. Just about any place has it. But I had never thought about using it for that.
Let me make one comment on snowmen that's I consider fairly critical in looking at it. The center of the head should be about 2/3 up because of the hat, because it continues inside of the hat. Think about it. So it brings the hat down over the head instead of the hat sitting above the head.
Right.
Look at that. Look at that alignment of the head versus the hat. And if you bring the center up, it makes the hat look like it sits further down on top of the head.
Yeah, if you get it too high like this one, it's kind of sitting on top of the head instead of down, you know.
Yeah, I put the biggest part of it just maybe 1/3 down from the hat, and then 2/3 on the other part of it. And on the top part, I just barely round it. It's just a barely rounding, not much of it.
I can tell you when I'm doing those, I used a pencil and marked it for the video, but I think that may be the first time I've ever marked one.
Okay.
I put them between centers and start turning.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I do is I sometimes mark the diameter of the head. And that's the only thing that's consistent on mine, and the length of the blank. But
Dean, what's the diameter of your hat?
I have no idea. I start off with an 8-inch, 1.5 by 1.5 blank. And I bring it down till it's round, and typically that's the diameter of the hat. So it's probably pretty close to 1 inch and maybe 1.5 inches, just looking at it, guessing here. But again, it's one of those things that I do for the craft shows or to give away. And when I'm doing them one right after another. It usually takes me less than 5 minutes to do one, sand it, put the finish on it, pop it off, and I'm on to the next one.
Right, beautiful.
You paint them white, or you paint them white and then put the puff paint on them, or?
I don't. On mine, I leave them natural. I had some that I painted white at one time, and I kept them for a long time. They did about 5 or 6 shows, and I finally gave them away. The ones that I leave natural don't stay on the tree to the halfway through the show. So
very nice.
They look
good.
Nice
I like
very
it.
nice.
Hey, Dean, Doug Rowe here. I got to tell you, buddy, I'm sitting there watching YouTube on my phone, and my wife was sitting there watching YouTube on her phone, watching her crochet stuff, and your video popped up. And I said, hey, babe, look, this is one of my buddies from my wood turning club. And I said, he's the one that taught us how to make the crosses like I made for my mom. And, well, then, of course, what did I hear? I like those. You're going to make me one? Ma'am, I will. No, he copied you, Dean.
well, good deal.
Doug said, yes, dear.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, you do this.
You
say yes, dear.
Forget, I was a wedding photographer for 30 years, and that was always my advice. If you want a long, happy marriage, say yes, ma'am, and yes, dear.
You say yes, dear, you always get in the last word.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's great.
Being that Doug is the pencil king, he ought to make one of those snowmen out of his pencil.
There you go. You know, that'd make a pretty good
That's
riding
actually
instrument,
on
wouldn't it?
the to-do list. I have made snowmen out of the pencil. I've just never made that style that you made, and she really liked that. So that's why I'll be copycatting. But yeah, I'll throw some together with the pencils here sooner or later before Christmas.
I may have to take one of these and do one of Captain Eddie's high dollar pins with it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
That would
that'd be
Wouldn't
cool.
it?
Yeah, it would.
You know, it lends itself to it. I mean, you know,
We'll
you
get
got it-
Bob
You
Moffett
just gave me an
to the
idea for
birdhouse.
another video, Kevin.
All right. That'll work. And that's such a fun project. It is. I mean,
Bob Moffett,
Yeah,
make a birdhouse that's gonna look like a snowman.
well, I'm working on it.
That's
Hey,
that's
Snowbirds.
Dean,
a challenge.
I'll make one for snowbirds.
There you go.
Hey, Dean, I made a cross for my buddy in Illinois. I gave it to him, and then his sister comes along and says, I gotta have one too. So now I had to make another one, but I appreciate the training I got from you.
Well, you're welcome, sir. And honestly, that's what happened to me. I made one for my wife when she was in the hospital, and then a nurse wanted one, and daughter wanted one, and well, the story just keeps on going.
Kind of snowballed, huh?
It did.
All right. Well, we have a demo lined up next with Kade up in Ontario. He's going to do a bottle stopper or two. So without further ado, let's go to Canada and see what's happening in Kade's shop. What he's getting ready to turn.
Sweet. Hi, everyone. Thanks
Hi,
for
Kate.
having me.
Hi, Kate.
Today I'll turn a bottle stopper for you guys and girls. So I have a couple here I'll show you first. So here's a few I made. I made this a few weeks ago. This one is made out of Banksia nut. The finial is Pau Amarillo, red palm, and Pau Amarillo. These three pieces were offcuts of pens and finials. So if you save your offcuts, you can always use them to add a splash of color to any sort of piece, whether it's a bottle stopper or a finial. And then for a little bit of practice, I did this one out of, this one is made out of sapele. This one is made out of acacia. I had a friend who did his kitchen cabinets in acacia countertops, and he gave me all the offcuts. So I have quite a bit for bottle stoppers, boxes, finials, and I made him a couple of things too. Here's one in apple. Now this has a little piece of live edge on one end, and then as I turn it around, it has some white leopard-like spalting on the other side. So that's one I did today for a little bit of practice. And I did this one just before I logged on. This one is made out of ash. And the finial on the inside is also made of ash. It's just dyed red and black. So you can make them as fancy as you like or as simple as you like. Your imagination is endless. I usually make them up as I go. So I have a couple pieces of wood here prepped, and we can sort of pick. I have a piece of acacia, which we could turn, or we could turn something colorful, or a piece of walnut, or a piece of cherry.
How about the colored one?
I say
Colorful?
colorful too. Colorful.
Yeah,
colorful.
let's say color. It's
Okay.
blank.
We'll
Yeah,
have
there's
some
something
color
on
in
there.
my life today.
Yeah.
So I'll do that one today. So first I'll talk a little bit about safety and preparing our materials. Now, bare minimum, whenever I turn, I wear safety glasses. I also wear earplugs because wood turners often go deaf, especially in their left ear, due to the sound of the motor. What? The sound of the motor and the chatter of the tool. So I like my hearing. I wear custom earplugs. It's about $150 for the pair, significantly less expensive than one hearing aid. So protect your hearing. You can also see I'm not wearing any rings, bracelets, watches, anything that can pull me into the lathe. If it were to catch one of those corners, it could be drastically devastating or painful if it pulled you in. So no rings, watches, chains, long hair tucked away, protect your face. I also do recommend wearing a full face shield. It doesn't really depend on your experience because you never know if there is a bark inclusion, a void, a crack inside that timber. And the centrifugal force can pull that crack apart, and then you have pieces of wood flying through the air. Now, something even as small as a bottle stopper, if I'm turning this at around 3,000 RPMs, if this were to come off the lathe and hit you in the face, it would hit you at roughly 100 kilometers an hour. So protect your face. Always wear a face shield, if not bare minimum safety glasses. But I always recommend wearing a face shield, even as small as a bottle stopper, especially live edge work, thin work, hollow forms. But it is beneficial to use it all the time because you never know what can happen. Now I'll talk a bit about preparing our material. Also, you can see I'm wearing closed-toed steel toe shoes. Turning flip-flops or sandals, because even if something this small fell from my bedway, which is 3.5 feet off the ground, if that corner hit my foot, it could break some of those very tiny bones in your feet. So at least closed-toed shoes, if not work boots, okay? Now, when I prepare my material is prepared. It really depends on what length I'm going for my bottle stopper. So if you ever look at, say, the Bria or the Penn State or the Woodcraft instructions that might come with your bottle stoppers, it says roughly 3 inches, 2 inches by 2 inches. But if you want to make it a little longer, you can do 3.5 inches, 4 inches, whatever size you like. The only crucial measurement is what size you make that hole and what size you tap thread the threading so it matches the threading of your bottle stopper, okay? So my material here are all cut to 2 by 2 square and varying lengths from 2.5 to 3 to 3.5. This one I bought, and this one is probably 1.75 inches, maybe. Let me see. No, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches by 3 inches long. And I bought this at the local wood turning shop. So you can buy them in bulk, cut them to size, or you can buy them in bottle stopper blanks. Okay? Now, when we turn a bottle stopper, there's many different ways to do it. I'll show you the way I do it, but I will also talk a little bit about other ways that may arise or other things you might have to do to turn the same piece. Okay, so this piece is cut perfectly square. So as long as I have a chuck that will hold this piece perfectly square, I can stick it right in the chuck and get turning. But if I have something irregularly shaped or not quite square, I would use my spur drive, which would go in my chuck. I would first find my centers. I would grab my center finder, and I find my centers on all 4 corners. I do that on all 4 corners just in case it's not perfectly square. We split the difference, and I know that is dead center, and I do this on both sides. I would then put that between centers. I would turn a tenon. I would then put that tenon into my chuck, and then I would drill and tap the hole, which I will show you today. But all these pieces are perfectly square. They are cut perfectly square for a reason, so I actually skip a step. I save a little bit of time rather than going between centers, turning this round, creating a tenon, taking it off, flipping, putting it in the chuck, tightening my chuck, and then drilling the hole. Now, if this is perfectly square on both sides, I could take this to the drill press, find my centers, drill my hole, and then I can come back and put it in the chuck and I can tap that hole. But I don't really want to walk over to my drill press when you can do it all on the lathe, okay? So I'll show you how to do it all on the lathe. Okay, so I'll take this piece, I'll move these pieces. These will be a couple different things, maybe a few boxes, maybe some eggs, maybe some more spinning tops. I was busy this morning. I did a little warm up, turning a couple tops, and a couple tops turned into 50 tops, which is okay because I had to restock one of my shops anyway. And spinning tops are also a great way if you do festivals. If you do festivals, have a bucket of these out front of your tent with a little bowl so all the kids can spin these in your bowl. Once the parents buy these for their kids just to distract them, or maybe they're yelling, screaming, crying, they want something, it's an impulse buy. But at that point, they're in your tent and now they see your stuff and they're shopping for themselves. So a little bit of consumer psychology. And sometimes this will pay for your tent. Everything else is gravy or dinner, okay? Now, whenever I use this chuck key, my hand is always on this chuck key. If my chuck key is in my chuck, my hand never leaves that chuck key. Because you don't want to get doing something, forget that's there, come back, start the lathe, and now we have an anti-tank round of steel flying through the air. So my rule of thumb, what was instilled in me by my mentors and I instill in my students, is hand on the chuck key, it's in the chuck, it stays on the chuck key. The only time my hand comes off this chuck key is when it goes right back on my workbench, okay? Now I'm using a one-way stronghold chuck today with number 2 jaws. So it holds that square perfect for me. Now I always tighten both holes. You want to make sure that's tight because that's what's going to keep that little piece on the lathe and not flying through the air. Now I'm going to remove my tailstock for now because I'm going to true up this face, drill my hole, tap my hole, and then I will stick it in my turning mandrel, and then I will turn that round. Now, I suppose you could turn this round right now, if you like, and then true this up and drill the hole, but there's many ways to skin a cat. So this is the way I do it. And now I'm at the point where I'm about to start my lathe, so my face shield goes on. Now I set up my tool rest, 45 degrees to that corner. I always spin the piece of wood because I do not want any corner to hit that piece of wood. when I start the lathe. Remove your tailstock because we don't want to hit that lovely pin that is on our live center. It's not so funny when that hits our funny bone. You might have some choice words. So take that out and avoid a little bit of pain. Okay. Always give this a spin. I start my lathe at a slow speed. I guess I better turn it on first. That might help a little bit. Now, I start at a slow speed and I ramp up to a speed that I feel comfortable turning at. Now, what's a safe speed? A safe speed is a speed that you feel comfortable turning at. Might not feel comfortable turning at a Jimmy Clue's speed or my speed, but turn at a speed that's comfortable to you. Okay? Now, first thing I need to do is I need to true up this face so my bottle stopper sits flat against that base of my bottle stopper. And I'm going to do that with my Irish grind or Ellsworth grind bull gouge, okay? Now I have my tool rest is a little bit high because I'm above that center point. So shut the lathe off. It's okay to move the tool rest, but shut the lathe off because you won't have any surprises, okay? Now I am at that center line where I want to be cutting. I'm using a gouge, so my tool rest is below center, so I'm cutting at center. And since I'm using an Ellsworth gouge, I'm cutting with that bottom wing, riding the bevel on the nose of my tool, okay? And I just enter, and I come across flat, truing up that surface.
Never not.
So I have a flat surface for my bottle stopper to sit up against. If I make that slightly concave, that's okay. Okay?
You had to do what you had to do.
But we want that to be flat. Now this was sold as a bottle stopper blank, so I'm probably pretty sure it's flat. But you never know, so it's always good practice to make sure.
Nice
And then you
too.
won't have the headache of coming back
Good time.
and making sure again.
Somebody needs to mute themselves. We're hearing other people.
There we are. Grab my
Thank
ruler
you,
again.
Brenda.
Was there a question there? I heard.
Yeah, hey, we're gonna mute everybody, and then you need to unmute yourself, okay?
Okay. Sounds good. So now I have a flat. I have a slight. There we are. That's okay. I saw that I was muted. Thanks for muting everybody, Dane. So now that I have this flat, I do have a slight concave in the very center, but that's okay because that's where I'm going to drill that hole. And I'm going to tap that hole. So we want that to be flat or slightly concave. It's flat, concave, maybe a ½ inch in the very center. Now what I do, remove my tool rest. I bring up my live center again, pop this in place, and I come in, lock my tailstock down, and I just plunge the point of that in to the piece. Now you can see I have a pilot hole where my drill bit is going to start and not wander on me. Now, what size hole do we drill with? I use a 5/8 drill bit. You can use a 21/64 or a 23/64 is what I believe Penn State recommends. But those
Whoa, hey,
are
Kate.
actually smaller than 5/16. So by using 5/16, I get a little bit of a thicker, stronger thread. So I use 5/16. I tap with a 3/8 inch tap, 16 teeth per inch, which matches the threading on my bottle stopper. Okay. Now the bottle stoppers I'm using today are Ruth Niles bottle stoppers. I probably bought them maybe 10 years ago. And I finally turned, my last one will be today. So I might have to get some more. So these are stainless steel. They will not get ruined or marked or marred with the acidity of red wine. Sometimes if you use the gold plated or the chrome plated or rose gold plated, the plating can wear off with the acidity of your wine. So I recommend stainless steel, okay? If it's going to be for red wine. If it's for white, a little less acidic, you can probably get away with the plated. Or if it's just a gift, something to look at, the plated ones are very nice, okay? So now when I drill this hole, I drill the hole about 1 inch into the blank, okay? Because I need to tap this hole. And when I tap this hole, the first 3/8 of the tap is tapered and it doesn't even contact the wood. So it really contacts the wood back here to create your threading. So I drill it an extra 3/16 of an inch than they tell you to in the Penn State instructions. So I drill 1 inch deep. Okay, now when we're drilling, you want to drill at a slow speed because we're drilling through the wood, we're not burning through the wood, okay? If we're traveling too fast, the drill bit will heat up, the wood can expand, grab your drill bit, grab the wood, and then outfeed your Jacob's chuck, okay? Now, you don't want that to happen because if this gets lodged in the wood, feeds itself out of the tailstock, this will start whipping around. And again, we might have an anti-tank round flying through the air, okay? This happened to a friend of mine. It came around and whacked him right across the wrist. He was lucky he was only bruised, okay? So when we drill, we lock down our tailstock. When we start to drill, we do not have the drill bit in contact with the wood because we don't want it to start and jump or start and burn. We want it to spin freely before we start drilling. That way the drill bit can follow that pilot hole. But more importantly, always keep one hand on your Jacob's chuck as you're drilling and outfeeding that drill bit to make sure it doesn't get lodged in that hole and become airborne, because it could be hazardous. Okay. Now I'm drilling between 200 and 500. Now what you can do is you can mark your inch line on your drill bit. I already have a line on here because I did a couple bottle stoppers today, but I would take my tape measure and I would mark this roughly with a pencil to give me a line so I know I have a reference where I need to stop. So here's my reference line right here. So I will drill to that point. Now you could drill this all in one, but you might heat up the drill bit, expand the wood, grab the tool. So I usually like to drill it in 2 passes. Okay. Bring it up so the tip of the drill bit finds that pilot hole, don't just slam it in there and start drilling because it might pop off and you might not be centered. Now we're in contact, we're in that pilot hole, proceed to drill halfway. Remove any sawdust that might build up within the drill bit. Now that usually only happens if you're drilling at a high speed because the wood heats up, compacts, gets hot, sticks in there like glue, and you have to flick them out. But it didn't because I only drilled half. I'm turning at a slow speed suitable for drilling. Now I proceed to drill to my depth, and I come out just as fast as I drilled inwards. Okay. I did not heat up my drill bit, and it's not full of compacted, heated up, burnt sawdust. So this will stay sharp, and that will stay the proper size hole that I wanted to drill. Now I need to tap that hole. So I have a 3/8 inch, 16 teeth per inch threads. Okay. Make sure when you start threading that this is straight and parallel to that hole. Now, not this rod because we can see it's not parallel, but I want the threader itself to be parallel, which we can actually see within my bedways. So it's actually beneficial to have a camera when you do this. There we go. So I hold this stationary and I plunge it in and I turn the piece by hand. Don't turn your lathe on because this will thread bottom out and this would be flying like a plane propeller. You don't want that to happen. So we go in straight, parallel, and I turn this as I enter. Now you want to watch to stop when, watch the threads here and stop when it stops going in. It means you're bottomed out in the bottom of those threads. Now, if you're bottomed out in the bottom of those threads, we don't want to keep threading this because we're going to actually strip those threads. And we can see in this position, I threaded that hole straight and parallel to my bedway. So I know that that's straight and my hardware will sit flat. Okay. Here. Now just plunge this out. Now I don't think I went deep enough there. Just gonna double check how deep I am. Yep, I didn't get in there deep enough yet. So we'll do this again. There we are. And now we're threaded. Now double check, you can double check the threading with your mandrel. And I strip the threading. So,
Jay, have you ever put super glue on the threads or something to thread it, or used any other taps? Because I make three different taps, a bottoming tap and different tapers on the taps.
Pardon?
Have you tried putting super glue on it to help the threads when you're tapping?
No, I haven't really tried that before I tap the hole, but that's a great idea. Usually I use really hardwoods, so I don't have that problem. But that's okay. I can still salvage this. I'm in that deep. But that's okay. That'll be the top, and I'll create a finial. Okay. So I can still use this nice colorful piece of wood.
They sell inserts to repair the threads.
Yeah, you can buy inserts to thread it. All right, grab my drill again here.
A lot of the time I'll drill it, tap it, run thin super glue in it, let that dry and then re-tap it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Mr. Party said about letting it dry.
Yeah, you have to let that super glue dry because you don't want to glue your mandrel on.
Well, or you might want to, or it might re-glue your tap into your piece of wood.
Purpose really of having it on screw. I usually glue mine on.
I was about to ask that, Brenda. I was wondering whether it was just a cross the water thing.
I've noticed that some spectral ply strips out very easily compared to others.
It is a plywood.
Oh, I drilled my hole. I'm quickly going to face the piece here. So I know that it's perfectly flat. I'll try that trick here. Throw some super glue up in here.
When you go to align your tap, if you'll put your tail center point to the dent in the end of your tap, it'll align it perfectly.
I didn't hear any of that, sorry.
When you go to align your tap, if you'll put the point on your tail center to the dent in the end of the tap, it'll line it up perfectly with your hole.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good tip too.
Then use an open end wrench to turn the tap instead of the bar stock wrench.
One more shot for good luck. Make sure it's not going to stick my tap in there. There we are. That's just gumming up like no other in there.
I always mark my tap like I do my drill bit.
There we are, it's tapped. And that will tap it the rest of the way. Just in case it gets caught. We got one of these guys.
Primarily, you just got to get the starter thread started like Kade did there, and then the mandrel will tap itself.
Yes. Now I've started it. I've tapped it about halfway. Now when I flip and stick that on the mandrel, it will tap itself. Now I'm holding my chuck stationary and I'm turning the back wheel so I don't strip the threads of my my tailstock spindle. I had a bit of a brain fart there for a sec. All right. Oh, that's the wrong one. So now I can hold this in place and I can thread it on the rest of the way, the mandrel will tap those holes the rest of the way. Now, when we do this, we want to make sure that our mandrel is flush and flat with the surface of our mandrel. That way it will sit flat within the hardware. Okay.
Which will provide the torque of holding power.
I'm just going to grab my cone here, which will go into that hole. And that will become a small finial, so that's okay. It's still good. It's just a design opportunity. And now we have modified the design to accommodate our mess up.
Also called a skill builder.
Yeah, and we made Kim Tippin happy by not having scrap wood.
You did that on purpose to show us what can go wrong.
Pardon?
You purposely stripped the threads to show us what can go wrong.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, thanks.
I think you did it to make the rest of us feel better.
Well, before the challenge this month, I mean, I hadn't made a bottle stopper in probably 10 years. So the 5 I've done have really been fun and a skill builder all over again. So now we have this between centers. We need to make this round. Now you can use whatever tool you see fit. I'm going to use my roughing gouge just to get this round as fast as I can. So my tool rest is below center. I am cutting with my gouge at that center line. It's locked into my hip right here. And I just move my body back and forth. Now this is a spindle roughing gouge, right? Not a bowl roughing gouge. Never use this on a bowl. Now we have this round. Now we can start our our design. Now, first of all, I'm going to taper this to the bottle stopper blank so my hardware fits flush. I could do a bit of a bead. I could do a bead with a cove and then a bead. I could do a small cup or a dish here into a bead here. And then our finial will go on top there, okay? Now you can use whatever tool you like. I'm going to use my trusty 1/2 inch skew. So since I'm using the skew, my tool rest needs to be above center. So I'm cutting above center. But if we were looking at this camera and this was a clock face, straight up and down is 12 o'clock, right about here is 11 o'clock. And that is where I want to be using my skew. Okay, so my tool rest is in the right position for this diameter of stock.
Hey, Kate, touch on your tool presentation angle.
Pardon?
Touch on your angle presentation for the tool. 35 to 45 degree angle presentation.
Yeah. Okay. So skews are 70 degrees, 25-degree bevel on either side. My skew has a slight radius. But when I do a planing cut, I would be riding across the timber at 11 o'clock here. So the cutter is presented to the tool at 45, and the tool is 45 degrees on the tool rest. That is if I have my toe up and my heel down. You can also do this with the heel up and the toe down, but that angle changes. So now my cutting angle is 45. This is more like 30 degrees, 25-ish.
Perfect.
So I am cutting, planing across in that fashion. Now, whenever I do beads, coves, valleys, V-cuts, planing cuts, you are always only using the bottom third or this bottom third. If I'm using the tool with the toe up, I am cutting with this bottom third in this position. If I am using it with the toe down and the heel up, I'm cutting in this position, and again, only the bottom third. Now you can creep up to that halfway point, but you don't want to creep past the halfway point because I am presented on this corner, directly supported on the tool rest to be using that tool in this position. If I creep past center and I start using the tool on this position, that will catch, slam down like that, and give you a very violent catch because I transferred the weight, the cutting weight or the cutting portion to a portion of the tool that wasn't directly supported by the tool rest. So it slammed down, caught that corner, twisted up. Now it is supported in that position to make that cut there. If I wanted to cut there, we flip the tool and we cut in that bottom third. Okay? So I'll show you that planing cut here and present it at a 45.
No, go. They said they're doing it at the same time. I'm in the shop doing my work.
I'm getting a lot of dust because this is glued veneer. So it's mostly glue. But if this was solid wood, I would be getting very long, stringy, fine angel hair. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut this down in a cove so I become flush with my hardware. Whoop, I presented that too quickly and I wasn't on my bevel, so it skated back on me. Now, why do we get those skateaways? Is because I'm coming across and you lift that tool up off the bevel, oh, it skates away in that direction. If I stay on my bevel, I won't get that skate away. It will also happen in this direction too. Stay on the bevel, creep up off the bevel, oh, skate. Okay, so that's why you get that beautiful spiral design we all love to hate. You creep up off that bevel onto a curved blade, which is cutting a curved piece of wood, so it shoots backwards towards that curve. Okay, does that make sense? Now I have this flush. Now I can start thinking of design. So I'm going to do a cup here. I'll do something like this. Okay. So first off here, I'll start with a V cut. There we are. Make a little small V cut in here for a little bit of style or design. There we are. Now this will be a bead. This will be a cup and then a bead and then a bead and a bead into a cove. So that will be where my cove is. Okay. So now I'll start off with the cup, the bead, the smaller bead, and I'll do that last. So it's starting to take shape. Okay. Now if I do a V cut, I enter V cut, leave it in that position, bring it back 45, enter 45 in the opposite direction, enter, and we have two perfect V cuts on either side. If you have difficulty creating those perfect beads, you can create a center line for reference. Okay, and we start, and we roll over and around the corner. Okay, we roll over and around that corner. Okay, now over here, I'm going to do a series of V cuts because I want the cup to be the biggest in diameter. There we are. Now there's our cup. I'm going to reduce this diameter because I don't want the bead the same size, or the cove or the smaller beads to be the same size. That's just rough, getting material out of the way. I'll clean up that surface here and here. There we go. Now I'll clean up my bead here. Enter with the toe, stay on that bevel, and curve up and around that corner. There we are. Now we'll fix it. Just fix this side so it matches. There we are. There. Now I'll refine this so I have a hemisphere. There we are. Now I'll do a smaller bead here. A little bit of a V cut here to separate the other bead. There we are. Now you can make a center line if you like. There. Now I have my cup, my bead, there we are. Now I can create the bead and the small cove in the center. I'll start with two small beads here. There we are. Another Just refine that connection right there. Now all I need to do is do the center part of that little bead and cove. Okay. Now
go
you
too
can
small
do
because you got a
this
hole
with
in
a skew, but there are many other tools that are better suited for the job. I'll start it with the skew here. Now I'm using my toe, and I am cutting in with my toe and scooping across to create that cove. Now it is possible with the skew, but there are other tools that are better suited for the job just to clean up that bottom area. So I'll grab my spindle gouge. There we are. That's pretty good. I'll just refine this one to match. Now you could do all these beads with this tool too. We just curl up and around the corner just like so. Just like that. Start high, curl the tool up and around. Create that bead, that tight corner. And all my cuts were downhill. So I cut from the high side to the low side, high side to the low side, the high side of this to the low, high side to the low. All my cuts were downhill because this is spindle orientation. So we have end grain here and end grain here. So in order to cut downhill, here we are, I have my end grain orientation. Or if this was a spindle, we have our end grain running in this direction. So you see, I start at the high side of the bead and I cut downhill. So when you cut downhill, the fiber underneath supports the fiber above it being cut. So you get a really nice finish straight off the tool. Cutting downhill, supported cut gives you a nice finish. But if I were to try and cut uphill here from the low side to the high side, I would be cutting uphill. So this fiber separates, cuts, which gives you that tear out and the headache of sanding. Okay. And that is the bottle stopper there. So now I'm just going to clean up this surface to prepare for our finial. Now if I were to sand this, you don't want to sand it right now because all the different colors will bleed into one another. So I would hit this with super glue and then sand. That way the dye doesn't transfer to the other colored wood. You can also hit it with an oil. Sometimes that helps. Or if you get a nice enough finish right off the tool, you could just throw your finish on there right away. Okay. So I'm going to hit this with a little bit of oil. Now this is mineral oil. No, not mineral oil. It is mineral spirits and tung oil. 50-50. That looks pretty good, pretty vibrant.
Well,
I
that was
think
the
I'm gonna
pop.
leave it straight off the tool. The only thing is, I have a small little hiccup here and a hiccup here that I need to refine with the tool. So I have no sanding. So this corner was a little chipped. So I'm just gonna clean that up. This has a tool mark in the curve. Oh. There we are. And I have a little bit of a bump. Right there as I come up and around. Up and around that corner. There we are. There. There. Much happier with that, and I don't see those tool marks. So rather than sand that color into one another, this is a good case where you don't even need to sand with the skew. Because if I did, all those colors would mash into one another. And if I started sanding that, I could probably start sanding and finish sanding at 320. But with good skew practice and control, you don't need to sand. You can get a good finished surface right off the tool. All right, so I'm just going to pop this out. And I'm going to clean up this surface. You can also dish that out like a bowl, if you like. I suppose I could do that, a little bit of that. Need to remove your tool rest and your live center so we don't kiss our elbow. And since this is veneer all glued together into a brick, we don't really have a grain direction or grain orientation. If this was end grain, I would cut from the inside outwards. You can also get away with light cuts cutting from the outside inwards if it's mostly glue, which is in this case. But if it was end grain, I would be cutting from the inside outwards, which would be a downhill cut. Now I need to take light cuts because I am only contacted here with the friction fit of my mandrel. So if I cut from the center outwards, you can almost actually, cutting outwards and downhill, I would pull that mandrel out of my spindle, which actually happened with this piece. So I actually needed to cut very carefully uphill into the end grain, which is possible, but not recommended if you ride that bevel and take very light cuts.
Can you secure that mandrel with the drawbar?
And by cutting this way, all that pressure is actually keeping that mandrel in my spindle. Okay. There we are. I'll take a quick peek. Yep, that looks pretty good. Just one more pass. Yep, one more pass. Just gonna clean up that. There we are. Try that again. There we are. I have my flute open too much. It caught that wood and shot me back towards the rim. So I just needed to clean up that surface slightly. And there we have our cup. Yep. Now
Eddie,
you
you may
can
wanna
do
ask
a
the
light
question
scrape
again.
with that bottom wing. That's why I love this tool so much. It's a cutting tool and a scraper all in one. I don't need to reach for my round nose scraper because this curve right here is my round nose scraper. Okay. I'm lightly going to sand in here because I want to clean up that hole that's going to take my finial. There we go. And even that light sanding, the color did not transfer excessively to the surrounding wood. So if you start with a high grit, if you get good surface off the tool and you can start with a really high grit, you're going to get far less bleed than if you start with a rougher, coarser grit, because that's going to open up those pores that much more. This is almost sanding and burnishing those pores closed at the same time, keeping the color where it needs to stay. Okay. There we go. Now we have our bottle stopper complete. Now all we need to do is get this off without making it dirty with dirty hands or dropping it on the floor. So I grab my router mat and I wrap this around the piece so my filthy hands that are covered in tin and woods from turning all day will not ruin or change the color of that auto stopper. Wow, that's really nice. I might not, I don't know, if I show the wife, she might keep it. I won't get to sell it. But so I hold this, wrap it around the piece, and I turn this, the back wheel of my mandrel, so I unthread my threads. Now I take finish and I pour a little bit of finish in there. Hopefully it doesn't go on my lathe. There we are. Oh, of course it does, because I forgot that that hole went all the way through, remember? That's okay. I'll just grab a quick rag here. That's all right. It used to be pristine. All right, and now we have our bottle stopper. All nice bright colors, not sanded into one another. Even when we sanded the inside, oh, my oil is all over the place there, so I'll just put this here and get in here. There we are. And even with sanding, we still have bright, vibrant colors that didn't bleed in to one another. Okay. Now the reason I put the oil through the center too is when the mineral oil evaporates, leaving the tung oil behind, it will also strengthen those threads so they won't get stripped from putting my hardware in and out. But I will also hit that with CA glue before I sell it. If I am leaving this where the bottle stopper can go on and off, I will stabilize those threads with, yes, it's mineral spirits and tung oil, 50-50. It's not mineral oil because mineral oil never dries. So there's our bottle stopper, and now we'll just do a quick little tiny finial, and I'll color that. That will go in the top. And it will be sort of similar to this guy. Maybe a little different finial. Or we could hand turn the sphere. Let me see. I gotta put that somewhere it doesn't roll and fall on the floor. Okay, now I just need to get my knockout bar and knock out my mandrel. Hold on to it because you don't want it coming out hitting your bedway. Open it up for rust. Or if you leave your nice fancy piece right there in the line of fire, you don't want it to hit that piece that took you so long to finish and sand. Now my finial. I have my piece of ash left over from the finial I did earlier for the ash bottle stopper. So I'll throw that in there. Any questions so far? Or I can answer them all at the end, either way.
Okay, what turn is this?
One, I think I'll do a flame with a small little pedestal that will sit within there rather than the sphere. A nice yellow flame will accent all the yellows in that bottle stopper. Maybe a red stem or something. Now I'm using my skew, so I'm above center. No dust mask because my voice might be a little muffled when I talk. But if I was turning alone and not doing a demo, I would definitely wear a full respirator. But in my demos, I do not, just because it's a little more muffled and harder to hear. Might not be hard to hear, but more muffled for people who may be hard of hearing. So for the most part, I hold my breath, okay? No, I'm just joking. I don't hold my breath. You don't want to pass out on the lathe. Now that's a little out of round. Oh, sorry. I thought I might have saw something in the chat there.
No,
Make
I'll
that.
go ahead and answer.
Oh, that must be for someone else. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is a planing cut to true this up. It's a little out of round. And now you can see those nice slicing ribbons I'm getting with a piece of wood that is not mostly glue. Yeah, so here I'll do a little flame, a bead, pedestal, and my tongue. Okay. I could have marked those with a pencil. Now with a flame, 1/3, 2/3. There. Now we have rough shape of our flame. Actually, I'll switch to this camera angle as well. Now I'll reduce this so it's a smaller bead. Reduce all of this. There we are. There's our bead. There's our flame. Here, I'm actually going to grab this here. And it'll actually show that a little better. There we are. There we are. There's our bead. There's our flame. There. Now I have my pedestal. One thing I need to measure first is the size of my hole and what size tenon I need to fill this mortise. Okay. So my hole is, well, I knew that, 3/16. So there's my hole. My pedestal needs to be above that. So that's actually going to be a higher than I expected, which is okay. There we are, and we'll start it up here. Okay. And that's 5/8. So I have a perfect collar here. So my plug is actually going to be down here further. So that's perfect. And I can make that with a parting tool. And I want that to be 3/8 of an inch. But if I went too far here, that's okay. I can leave a little shim back here that will be at the proper diameter of 5/8 there. So it fits snug within my finial. And I'm actually perfect here. I just need to go a little further. And I have a small chip. I need to move this so I can get this in here. Because I had a small little chip out when I broke through with my parting tool. So I'm just refining that at the connecting joint there. Now it looks pretty good. One more pass. There we are. And this needs to go a little bit more. I'll double check that guy, and maybe a 64th above 5/16, so I need to go a little bit more. Now we want this to fit snug. There we are, 5/8 perfectly. All right, so now I would color it. So let me see. I gotta grab my yellow. Grab my paint brushes here. So I'll do the yellow first. Now these are stains, so you have to be accurate with your paintbrush so they don't bleed everywhere else you don't want the stain. Okay, there's my flame. I'll take a tiny bit of red. And I think we'll make that tiny little bead red. And then I'll take, let me see, my black. And I do the lighter colors first because if it bleeds over into something different, the darker color will sort of cover that up. Now I'm turning this with my hand. I don't want to turn it on because I don't want to be speckled black. I just got to dry my paintbrushes off here on my work pants. That's all right. I do the laundry. Otherwise, I might hear about it. Now all I need to do is part that off. But just let that spin for a little bit because you don't want to be colored black, red, and yellow when I catch that as it flies off the lathe. So we'll just let that spin for a second. And there we are. That should be good. And I'll grab my thin kerf parting tool. Part through here. Switch one-handed, reach around the chuck. And catch it as it comes off. Watching out for any spinning pieces of metal. There. Now my lathe is off, and I can take my face shield off. All I need to do now is assemble my bottle stopper. There we have it. There is our bottle stopper. Now I would glue that with, what would I glue that with? I'd glue that with Type on 3. There it is. It came in, it came. Yeah, Type on 3. And where is my bottle stopper? I'll just make sure this fits. Now it might be tight at first, so you might need to thread it and unthread it and thread it and unthread it. Now I'm going to hold that piece with this so my hands don't make those bright colors dull. There we go. Grab this little guy, and I'll get that off again, and then we should be off to the races. Sorry about that. Hope it wasn't too loud in the mic. I can actually tighten it with this, and I'll throw glue in the other way. There we have it. And now our hardware is flush, sitting straight and flat. Here's our nice vibrant bottle stopper. And all I need to do is now glue this in place. There we have it.
That is one nice piece of work, and you did a fantastic demonstration, sir.
It looks great.
Fabulous.
Very good.
That's a really good demo, Kade.
I love the colors.
Thanks, me too. I love those colors too. I'll have to maybe get a couple more of those.
Kade,
I got
that
some
was
of the,
excellent.
actually I have some here. You see they come in all kinds of shapes and colors, and here, I'll switch to this camera here. So I might have to use those for something. They were actually going to be small boxes, but I might use them for something. So any questions?
I have a question about your skew. And it's not so much as a question as, well, I'm not sure what it is. I think for the first time, I figured out why a skew may not just have
the way my skew is set up, it just the way it came from the factory. It's got the 45-degree angle period. Yours has sort of two different angles in there. And I've never really understood why this slight change. I think I just saw it as you were cutting. It's because you can actually get in closer as you twist and you're doing the bead. Is that why you like it? Because you can get down a little closer into the center? Or I'm sorry, that's the question. Is that what the point is of having the two different angles on the skew?
Well, it's actually still used the same way. There's a few different types of skews on the market. And there are, here I can talk about them quickly. So there is your, I'll move this so I don't drop it, ding it. Let me see. So this is your rectangular straight-sided skew, which is what you would get straight off the factory.
Right.
So this is sort of standard out of the box. This is what I learned on, but I learned on a 1/2-inch skew. And if you can use a 1/2-inch skew, you can go up and you can go down because it's such a small sweet spot. With this, you have such a big sweet spot, but with something so big and clunky, it's sometimes harder to maneuver and stay within that sweet spot. So this is my, it's still 70 degrees, 25 and 25 degrees on either side. It's just a straight 70 degrees, and we have rectangular corners. So this would be used the exact same way I use this, would be cutting on, resting on this corner if I'm cutting in that direction, resting on this corner if I'm planing in that direction, or if I take the tool now and go this way, I'm on that corner in this direction, or this corner in this direction. You would still use that the exact same way on this skew, you just have a much straighter edge. And I find sometimes coming around corners with that straighter, sharper edge, that sharp corner might kiss the opposing bead that you're approaching.
Right, that was my point. I noticed as you were doing your bead and you were coming around, you weren't hitting where I usually do, and I'm always worried about hitting that edge. So if I want to get rid of that extra catch, get in a little closer, that's what that little extra cut at the bottom is all about. It lets you get in just a little, I don't know if the word is tighter or not. You can get a little safety there. Is that the point?
Well,
yeah, I think that's what you just described. Yeah.
Yeah, you can still come up and around that corner, but you need to be using the point rather than that third. Otherwise, you're going to come around that corner and dig that point into the opposing bead. But if I start that bead with that corner and roll around, I'm not going to catch that corner in the opposing bead.
Oh, okay. That's what I've been doing.
A lot of these come down to woodturner's preference. So I modified this slightly so it has a slight radius.
Right.
So that way I can still start the cut with the point, proceed to the back third, and I can still come up and around those corners in a controlled cut without kissing that bottom corner.
I love it.
And your full curve, it's still exactly used the same way. It just has a tighter curve. It really, they're all used the exact same way. It just comes down to woodturner's preference. So I learned on this, and now I prefer this, but I use these two regularly. This one I don't really like because I find the curve is just too much. And with a bigger curve, you get a bigger kick on that beautiful spiral design we all love to hate. So this is a really nice round nose scraper, but it can also be used as a skew if I choose to. But this is sort of my go-to with a slight radius. I did buy another skew, Well, actually, I got one for Christmas last year, but I put the exact same slight radius on it. It's still flat, but I have a slight curve, the exact same as this. It's still a lot steeper, but I didn't want to waste steel.
I love it.
So
Thank
as I
you.
sharpen this, it will come to this shape. But until then, I just didn't want to waste steel to waste steel. Yeah.
Thanks for the explanation.
No problem. I just got to put this in here quick. Let me see. Oh, no, here, hold on. Oh.
Fantastic demo, Kate.
Absolutely great. Thank you.
I
Thanks,
loved
Dave.
watching, I loved watching the finesse that you use on small areas, Kate. Great example of how to finesse the tools.
Thanks.
Kay, you said you when you tighten your chuck, you tighten it in both holes. Why? Why both? Why not just one?
Just what I've been taught and done over the years, just because, just in case
Okay.
one side's looser than the other.
Many people put 2 holes there.
Yeah, and there's 2 holes there. I might as well tighten both of them. Let me see. I just
Same
want
thing
to-
with the drill chuck. A lot of them have 3 holes. I use all 3.
Exactly. Each time you do it, it lets you tighten just a touch more.
Yep.
Yeah, it gets just a little bit tighter every time. And sort of, it's, I don't know, it might not be doing much, but it sort of makes me feel better.
Kind of
that
makes
it's
you feel
tighter.
better about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the people that design those things are much smarter than I am. They put 2 holes in it. I'm going to use 2 holes.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, for sure, right?
And I tighten
I think
mine
it
up
was a
with 2
fantastic
holes.
demonstration. Go ahead, Doug.
I tighten mine up. It's kind of like tightening, to my way of thinking, it's like tightening lug nuts on a tire. You get it part way with one, and then you go to the opposite side and you tighten it down even further on the opposite side. I think you get a balanced pressure. Am I wrong?
That's kind of the way I look at it. Yeah.
You're spinning that same ring in the center, though. It doesn't make any difference when you're spinning the ring. That ring spins in the center and tightens up all 4 at one time.
No, it doesn't, because it skews a little bit. Sometimes it goes in the direction of the torque and it will skew a little bit. And when you go to the other hole, you're evening that out.
Yeah, I find one side's always looser than the other. Even if I strong arm one tight and I go and twist it to the next hole, I still get a little more tightness, which sort of makes me feel a little safer about it all.
Well, the other side's definitely going to be loose. Okay, well, okay. Well, if it makes you feel better, that's all that counts. So.
Yeah. Little insurance premium.
Well, it's what my daddy always told me: if it had 3 holes, tighten it 3 times. And I'm not going to question my daddy. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, with that, folks, it's a little bit after 9 o'clock. I got to thank Kade for an awesome demonstration this evening. It was really good, a lot of detail. And I know a whole bunch of you guys, just like me, you a little bit when he was making those little fine cuts, like, man, come on, don't go through, you know. But I trust you knew what you were doing and you did it quite well. Thank you, Kade.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, everyone.
Great
I'm
job,
glad-
Kate.
Good job, Kate.
All right, folks, Kade has got a demonstration coming up this week. It's turning a bird mouth bowl. And for details, go to our chat. And if you haven't saved the chat tonight, go to the chat, 3 little dots on the lower right, click it, say save chat, and it goes on your computer. So you'll have it now. And when this is all over with and our webmaster does his masterful work, he will include that on our website, just like the excerpts from tonight's demonstrations and a lot of other things. With that, folks, it's 9 o'clock. It's time for us to push the button and say we're out of here. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for attending tonight, for being supportive of this organization, and I look forward to seeing you and your work back again on Wednesday evenings as we crank it back again for worldwidewoodturners.org. From me, thank you so much. And to you, be safe.
You take care also, Eddie.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Good
Hey,
luck, you guys.
everybody.
Here.
Thanks, everyone.
night,
Take
everybody.
care.
Everybody have a
Night,
great
everybody.
week
Have a
and be
good.
safe.
Take
See
care.
y'all again
Thank you
next
for another
Wednesday.
great week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye. You good.
Hope it wasn't too long.
No,
it was
Perfect.
You did an excellent job, Cade.